we're continuing working on the lavender garden, and we're putting in some drip line. We're putting in a whole drip line water system, and we're gonna run it off of the drip line water system that we have in the pumpkin garden. It's the pumpkin garden this year. There's a few veggies in there. I'll give you a quick update on how they're doing too. They look really good. But we're gonna run the drip line from the garden here underneath the first lavender bed that'll go here. We went ahead and used the sod cutter to make our trenching a little bit easier. Trenching to the first source here. We're gonna put this bucket in right there.
Yeah, I hit rock. What a surprise. I think the whole thing is like a rock from the 13-inch mark.
Uh-oh.
So we're gonna have a little bit of it setting up.
Man. Well, I'll give you a quick update on the garden here, just a little view. Pumpkins are happy. We have the lavender cuttings, the propagated lavender in the trays over there now. Sophie's veggies are doing great, her zinnias, and the pumpkins. We put down some hay from my sister and brother-in-law for the pumpkins to have a nice, clean bed to lay on when they start coming. All right, let's get this drip line in. If you haven't been following along, we are building a big lavender garden here in our backyard. And I'll link down below the 2 videos prior to this one of cutting the sod and getting all the garden beds laid out in perfect curves. So this is the 3rd part of this project where we're just trying to get all the irrigation run to each of the 3 beds. So you can see we have giant garden beds that are going to need water for the first few years. After that, lavender won't need irrigation, but in the beginning it's really going to need it. So we're working hard here. We have our 3 sources for the 3 beds. It's coming along.
Okay. Oh, we got a little bit more though here, don't we?
Wow, yeah. You're there.
You know, the other thing I just realized is which way. We kind of have to leave it at an angle, don't we? So we can go left and right and accept it from the trench we're about to dig.
We wanted a nice walkway right down through the middle of the beds, and so we ran irrigation underneath the center row here. And so we have to put source buckets on either end of the path. So that's what we're working on here in this picture. Weather was a lot better this day. The day before this, it was in the about 100 in the 90s, almost 100 and something. It was so hot with high humidity. And then there was a big thunderstorm, and this day was only about 62 degrees Fahrenheit. So it dropped almost 40 degrees overnight, which was awesome. So it was much more pleasant to work in this environment. I have a gravel mix in that orange Home Depot bucket that I'm pouring in the bottom of each of Joel's holes. That way when we put the source buckets down into the holes, it has a nice clean gravel bed for our connections. That way it doesn't get all muddy if we spring a leak, if we need to change the connection. We have a nice clean gravel bed down below.
Okay, so we are on day 4 here of getting the lavender garden set up. I guess yesterday was so much nicer compared to the 100-degree day the day before, but we ran out of daylight because we started late because it was raining most of the day, and it was too bad because we got almost everything buried except for 2 of the underground distribution lines between 2 of the 3 beds, and I'll show you those here in a minute. But anyways, we made good progress. It probably was good that it got dark because I think our bodies about gave out with all that backfilling and all the digging that I was doing and trenching. I probably should have rented a ditch witch or whatever those things are called, the trench diggers. Anyway, so we'll see how the progress looks today. I hope we can get all the distribution lines buried and backfilled, all the sod put back where we rolled it up, and then I'm hoping that we can get all the fabric put down so that everything is completely ready to accept our plants whenever those arrive and whenever our propagations are ready to be transplanted into a permanent location. So that's the plan for today. Time to get out the tools. So what we got here is right here. This whole strip right here is actually going to be our walkway. And we tried to center the walkway right up to the door of the house just so that it kind of feels like a natural path. It kind of comes down here. And so what that meant was, because we have this path in between the beds on the left and the right, we still wanted a way to do irrigation to either one of the beds, left or right of the walkway. So we had to run our distribution line underneath, that area. And so what we did when we had the sod cutter, we kind of cut rolls, or cut the sod so we could roll it up, and then we could dig our trench. We can put the dirt, backfill all the dirt, and then roll the sod back out, and then, start watering and get that sod to take again, so it would look somewhat natural in a hurry. But anyway, so that means that we're making our connections in each of the distribution boxes, or sprinkler boxes I should say. And what happens is, when we do that, the idea is that the distribution line is going to start all the way down there at the end of the bed. It's going to run above ground on top of our tarp to that sprinkler box right here, go underground, and then come up here. So all we're going to do is connect a drip line to this distribution line and run the drip line all the way down that bed. So the one thing that we're going to do is, on this bed, we are going to have a distribution line that runs the length of the entire bed, and we're going to have a drip line that pretty much follows it in parallel. The only reason that we have that distribution line clearly is so that we can get from here, cross the path, and get it over, to this other bed on this side of the walkway or path. So make sure it's about centered. Okay, there's one behind you. Oh, here it is. Pretty good line here. I mean, if you get both sides, I guess. If you like the stretch out.
I like to stretch out.
Now the side.
Actually, this one's shy here.
Huh?
This one's shy. Got like a hole here.
Just make it straight across then.
Make it work. Like we're on that design show. All right, this is the very last piece of sod. We got all the distribution lines in and all the sod put back, and so the next step in this project is just to get down all of the DeWitt landscape fabric. We will learn how to work with the fabric in our next video, and then all that's left to do is just wait for the plants. You know, I propagated a bunch of plants. We'll see if they survive. And then we also ordered a couple flats of lavender plants from a nursery as well. Then hopefully in 3 years we'll have a big, beautiful lavender garden. Thanks so much for stopping by our Stonehill channel, and we'll see you again soon.